Up next on the Run That Back podcast, we got the New Jack City soundtrack. Let's get it. Yo, what's poppin'? It's your man Scorpio Moe, and this is the Run That Back podcast. And today we are diving into one of the things that defined the 90s as far as music is concerned and selling records and popularity. And that one thing is soundtracks. So we decided to dive in because there was a few, maybe one or two right before this one, but this one in particular, because there was marketing that went along with it. And that soundtrack would be the New Jack City soundtrack. Based on the movie of New Jack City, of course.
Yes, sir.
I think it was a Warner Brothers film, if I'm not mistaken, and they did the soundtrack as well. I know Cassandra Mills had a lot to do with it. Soundtracks, what wind up happening is, if you had an act, right? Well, we kind of talked about this before in another episode. Labels would bid for the soundtrack of these movies, especially once they became popular, right? And that was the thing to have. And Warner obviously got this, so this is before that time, but at some point they got to bid and they would get it, and it would break a lot of artists. So let's say instead of you putting out a single and that artist and waiting to see what happens, then follow up with an album, you did it based on the movie and how the people would do it. But even in this movie, they snuck people in that were on or around that soundtrack. In the actual movie, right? So when did you become familiar with the soundtrack at the same time as the movie, or what was your introduction to, let's just say, the movie and soundtrack?
Same time. Mm-hmm. I would probably say I saw the movie first, and then I definitely purchased the soundtrack after I saw the movie. It wasn't like I bought it before the movie came out, because I don't even think that soundtracks were released before the movie came out, if I recall correctly. I might be wrong, but yeah, I wasn't familiar with the soundtrack until the movie came out. What about you?
I was kind of familiar with the movie a year before, but real quick, I was an extra in the movie at a club scene.
Story time with me.
Right. It was an executive at Rush Management that sent me down there anyway. And it was a club scene. I was told not to wear certain colors. And then we went down there, paid $40. Keep saying 50. It's actually $40. Go down there, we get a club scene, and they gave us T-shirts. And the T-shirts were black T-shirts with neon letters, green neon letters that said New Jack City. And the only thing they told us was, it's a movie like Scarface, and that's all they said. You know, I guess they didn't need the party goers to like. So it was a lot of guys in oak tree clothing and things like that. You know, but that was how I got familiar with the movie. But maybe 9 months to a year later, there's a thing on the soundtrack. And I want to say I heard a song, you know, and we'll get into that song before or shortly after, because it was a big promo leading up to the movie. It was a lot of MTV was involved. It was a lot of stuff leading up to the movie, and you started to get familiar. I want to say Fab Five Freddy, like all these people got involved into the promo of the movie. So that was kind of my introduction. I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg. But to be honest with you, I did not see the movie until well after it was played out. By the time I saw the movie, it was damn near on VHS.
What?
Yeah, that's why, spoiler alert, that's why I didn't like it. I looked for me in it, but I didn't like it. I'm just to keep it real, wasn't really much of a fan of New Jack City. I thought it was a little corny. Sorry.
Oh.
I thought it was a little corny. And maybe because I saw it a year late almost, I thought it was a little corny. I didn't like it.
You didn't like New Jack City?
I didn't. It's one scene I liked. Because I thought it was dramatic or whatever.
What scene was that?
Overall, when
shooting at the wedding?
Nah. When they it was two scenes, I'm lying. When they stripped Pookie down, Alan Payne, and stripped him down, and the camera was looking up from his belt, and he was like, put it down. He was like, kill him. And stepped on it. I was like, ooh. And then, because Chris Rock was a lovable character in the movie, even though he was a crackhead, he was a lovable character. And then the other part was, which is probably more cinematic of a scene, is when there's Alan Payne through the fish tank, and there's like the blue neon lights in the back, and and he's talking to Nino on the phone. He's like, yeah, and then he picks up the crack pipe and says like this prayer, and then takes it hit. I was like, I didn't see that coming. Let no man separate us, or whatever the hell he said. Yeah. And I was like, yo. Other than that, the movie was a little whack to me, to be honest. It felt like a Hollywood version of some street stuff. The way the dudes dressed and everything, it just felt very Hollywood production-ish. Anyway, I'm getting off on some stuff. But, and the New Jack City is the first album of a trilogy. I don't know if people know that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Michael Cooper. What's the name that died a couple years ago? I forget his name. Loom's uncle. What's his name? Well, long story short, that's the first part, and then the other one is it's all the same producers. What was the Harlem movie and Wesley Snipes and Sugar Hill. And then third one, believe it or not, people are not going to believe this. It's actually Above the Rim. The same producer did all of it. And he said, I don't believe it. I think he was just trying to tie them all in. And they all shot in Harlem. That was their stomping. That's where they're from.
So how was
Because it was based on, if you do the knowledge, it was based on, he was a writer, Michael Cooper, and he wrote an article about Chicago, really. Detroit. The Chamberlain brothers.
Okay.
And they had a whole building of smokers. And then they had a spot and they was pumping out of there. And that's how that came. Look it up, like you do your research. And then he came back and he did this whole article and he wrote it about something that happened in Detroit. And then he came back to New York, wrote it, based it in Harlem, and put it to what was happening in Harlem, and that's how that whole thing came. This is not my words. This is Michael Cooper's words. It was based. He's saying it was a trilogy. I don't know how because it jumps around but he was, from what I understand, he was showing different type of hustlers. On this level, on the Sugar Hill level, with Romello showing. He was showing that that's what it was.
So it was more of a trilogy of a theme instead of.
I'm assuming
because I don't see how those movies tied in with each other.
I don't either. You know how it is. You get something and you you try to tie it all together to give it a story, whether if it makes sense or not. So that's what I said.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. I know y'all want to get to the my bad. But that was my introduction. You said your introduction. That's my introduction. Yeah. So my bad, y'all. So we move forward, and the year it comes out is this is the soundtrack at this point. We're not even talking about the movie. We're gonna stick to the sound. I just kind of wanted to do the setup.
So the year is 1991. Just to give you all a quick climate, the first web page goes live on August 6, 1991, and it's actually still up to this day. The Chicago Bulls win the NBA tournament, or should I say the NBA Finals.
Bulls win! Bulls win!
NWA's Niggas for Life goes platinum almost within 7 days. So that should just go to show you the power of hip hop in the year of 1991 and how hip hop is about to become popular music for the country. Like I said, NWA's album, 7 Days, almost platinum. Let's see what else happens. Let's see. That's basically it. Not a big deal. We can get into the soundtrack now.
Let's do it. All right, so man, let's get into the track listings, man, for the New Jack City soundtrack, which was a big deal. It's one people really to emphasize. We're gonna every now and then we're gonna sprinkle some soundtracks in it. You know, we're going through our '90s thing, and man, it was a beautiful time for music because they aligned. Sometimes the soundtracks were better than the music. In this case, it might be. But I'm just saying, the soundtracks were very, very key promotional tool to help push the movies because the clips got you excited. Hey man, I've seen some clips in soundtrack movies that never made it to the movie.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
The edit. No, seriously.
No, because sometimes, like in trailers, they use clips that aren't even in the movie.
Yeah. It's the buzz thing, and I forgot what they call it. And through the edit, things get taken out or whatever. But super dope. But let's get into this soundtrack, man.
Yeah. So the first song on the soundtrack is New Jack Hustler, Nino's theme.
Hustler, word, I pull the trigger long, grit my teeth, spray to every nigga's gone. Got my block sewn on my dope spots. Last thing I sweat, so suck a punk cop.
That's performed by Ice-T.
Here's the thing about this is, oh boy, I hope this don't sound bad. This is when I actually started to like Ice-T. This is when I took him serious. I'm gonna be honest with you. Colors, I was like, yeah, okay, it's better than the stuff in the reggae movie. Okay, it's cool, Colors.
You ain't like GLOVE?
They're walking, face beer talking, but this one, New Jack Hustler, yeah. He had a couple lines in there. I was like, okay. Yeah, Mike Tyson cameo in the video. Julie was right. He was coming through. Hey man, it sound right. I wasn't mad at it. Wasn't mad at it.
Yeah, I wasn't mad at it either. I think it was a good marriage of the lyrics and definitely the track. The track was hard hitting. He wrote it from the perspective of a hustler, so that was a good one. That was a good song to jumpstart the soundtrack too. Definitely.
Plus being one of the stars in the movie.
Exactly. The second song is I'm Dreaming by Christopher Williams.
Hey man,
this
might have set up the movie more.
It set up Christopher Williams more.
I don't know. I liked it. I'm gonna keep it real. I liked it better than New Jack Hustler.
Well, I mean, because New Jack Hustler was, that was just straight rap. I
don't know because I like the clips in it better, and it kind of fit more of what he was talking about. Because I don't even remember even being clips in New Jack Hustler, is it, for the movie?
I don't think so.
See what I'm saying? So we seeing the clips inside of,
right.
Definitely I'm Dreaming, and you hearing that, and it's almost like you got to hear an updated version of Teddy P.
Yeah, definitely updated version. Also, Christopher Williams was one of the light skins' last saviors.
Hey man,
because Wesley came in, and then it was dark skins.
Let me tell you something.
After that, Chris Williams was one of your last hopes until Jenny White came along.
But hey, if you know anything about Christopher Williams,
he was killing.
He was a gangster. Like Christopher Williams, if you know the story, Christopher Williams is a real street guy. Like he might look a certain way, and you might have, but it's notorious. And notorious stories about him before the record deal and during the record deal where people tested him. I don't even want to get into it. Y'all can look those stories up, but they are real, and he held a lot of people down, like for real, for real. Andre Arell, God bless the dead, is one of them. Christopher Williams protected that man on some real stuff that happened. But in any case, now shout out to Christopher Williams. I like the song. He's on Warner at this time. Later he goes to another label. That's when we talk about the Andre Arell situation. Cassandra Mills signs him to her label, Mills something, I forgot how it go. But I think she was in charge of, it was Giant Records through Warner.
Yeah, it was Warner Brothers, Giant yeah. And Reprise.
Right. So it was her label. She executive, this is her first label, if I'm not mistaken. And she put her acts on it, which you're supposed to do. She had another big act with another big record, and we'll get to that. But I love the record, his energy. To me, if I can't hear the song without seeing the video.
Yeah. And
the clips of the movie. And that made me want to see it. It just took a minute for me to see it. And by the time I see it, it was out of the theater and it was in the VHS, then I saw it. So, but now, how you feel about the record?
Yeah, no, it was definitely a good record. Definitely New Jack Swing, and definitely a newer version of Teddy P, because he had that strong, deep register. So, and he was also singing an up tempo, which generally people with heavy voices normally don't. They normally stick to ballads. But I'm Dreaming, that's a classic song. You put that on the day, and you already know what it is. People just love it, and they, puts it back.
It's one of those songs that
takes you back. Yeah,
it takes you there. Yeah.
The next song up is New Jack City by Guy. It's not one of my favorites, and that's all I got to say about that.
It's not a favorite, but I did like it. I like how they performed it in the movie. I like the song, even the way it starts out, the swagger on it. Even in how they did the video, they had the clip. They had the
bowler hats.
Yeah, it was like they kind of almost threw it back to a time period with the dressing, and I wasn't mad at it, man. I wasn't mad at it.
Yeah, it wasn't.
We're still in New Jack Swing era. I wasn't mad. We're about 3 years in at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I wasn't mad at it. He didn't like it, but I wasn't mad at it.
I ain't like it.
And this is in between
their first album and the future.
Yeah. This is right in between. This is before the breakup. This one is still together. Yeah. I like the guy with playing the bass. I just thought it was funky.
I thought it was funky.
Oh, you stink!
Next song, which was a song that was on the Quiet Storm quite a bit. I'm Still Waiting by Johnny Gill. That was a good R&B song. I had no problem with Johnny Gill because he was kind of in his bag by then.
No, Johnny Gill was on fire at this time.
Yeah,
he was on fire. In between albums, this drops. It probably was recorded before that.
Right.
But this was in between albums. He's on fire. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad. I'll put it that way.
Yeah,
I'm not mad at it.
It's a good song.
I don't remember hearing it in the movie, and I can think of a place where it could have went.
Right. I mean, and that's the thing with soundtracks.
They don't necessarily have to.
Yeah, a lot of songs aren't in the movie, but the songs that are in the movie, they're going to be released as a single or
for the most
promoted.
Part.
Yeah.
For the most part.
The next song after that is the king of wine, women, and song, Keith Sweat with "There You Go, Telling Me No Again." Now, if I recall, this was in the movie during the wedding scene, right? He was singing during the
Which it was supposed to be. You know what it was supposed to be?
Ooh.
It was supposed to be another record. Not him, the song. They changed at the last minute. It was supposed to be, I really want to say, Let's Chill.
Oh.
Because it wasn't out yet.
Yeah, because he wrote on it.
Yeah. I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure. I know it was another record.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to be pretty sure it was Let's Chill. And the reason why they took it out, because they gave it to Guy.
Mm-hmm.
and it was like a last minute takeout.
Okay.
I definitely know that. That wasn't the original record in the movie. That wasn't supposed to. That was last minute. It was supposed to have been another record, and I want to say that record was Less Chill. Listen, what's the name of the song again?
There You Go Telling Me No Again.
That sounds creepy. No means no, Mr. Sweat.
But it stayed on the quiet storm, my friend.
Listen, I don't know what the 90s was. Hey, look, hey.
Hey, wait.
The 90s and before is a little with the
Keith Sweat again.
This is the same brother that said what? What did he say?
No more daddy's little girl. Oh no,
you
no,
might
no.
be young, but you're ready. I'm just saying. I don't know if these titles will fly. If these open liners will fly now. It's a little, not suspect. It's just a little dangerous. We're living in different times. I'll just say that.
Keith was talking slick back then.
But what does he mean by?
There you go, telling me no again.
Yeah, it's like you trying to reach over and grab, and then she do like this. She do like this, and then he just turn around. There you go. I don't know, man.
Girl,
you
know what you do to me?
Yeah. Girl, you know my nature is rising. There you go, telling me no.
I'm gonna take you to ecstasy, girl.
Yeah. But there you go, telling me no again.
God damn it.
What the?
Let me drop you off at home.
Hey, I'm just saying, the title was a little, I'm saying. But shout out to Keith. He does his signature stuff. We get it. We get it. And it's in the movie. It's not really wet and appropriate if we're gonna keep it real.
This is true. And actually, was this the reception? It was the reception.
It was the reception.
It was the reception, and it's not even a reception song either. So,
You see what the motherfucker Ashford is cutting the cake, and the girl's gonna take it. Like, save me some too. It's like, that's so funny. I don't know why I find that fucking funny as shit.
And then, if I recall, not too soon after that. I was a fucked up wedding day.
Man.
All right.
I'm just saying.
Hey, the next song is one that is not memorable. Facts of Life.
By who?
Shoot. Danny Madden.
You stink!
We can skip this part.
Yeah, we can skip that. Yeah. All right. So then the next song is For the Love of Money Living for the City.
And here we go. Okay. So you got, obviously, crooner Joe Levert, right?
Well, you got the group Levert.
Levert, pardon me.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got, now hold up. Now that I think about it, is this sure not Elektra that did this? Or maybe they just jumped in it?
No, Reprise, Warner, and...
Yeah,
Reprise,
because
Warner,
I'm thinking,
and Giant.
I could have swore Elektra had Troop and...
No, Atlantic.
No, Atlantic. No.
Troop. Atlantic had Troop.
They did it? Oh, so it does fall. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But so you got these two groups come together, right?
Mm-hmm. And Queen Latifah.
And Queen Latifah is 1 to 2, maybe one album in, maybe 2.
I think she's definitely one album in.
Because Queen Latifah at this time is making around. She's doing the movie circuit. She's in this. It's Juice. It's Jungle Fever.
Yeah.
This is all the same time.
Yeah.
This is all the same time. Queen Latifah's making her rounds in the circuit. And good for her. She's stretching out past the artist. But she is on this song. And it's OJ's. Let's get to that. It's originally done by the Levert brothers' father, Eddie Levert, of the OJ's.
Correct.
And I guess they did their spin on it with Troop. Troop, who was on fire, by the way.
Yeah.
So is this before or after? Because I know y'all see, if y'all go back, see we did a segment on Troop that did, what's the record on Who Done It Better?
The All I Do Is Think of You.
Yeah, so it's this before. I think they do it before, but it comes out after.
Yeah, because actually it's a mashup of the, like you said, the OJ's for the Love of Money,
Right.
and Stevie Wonder's Living for the City.
Right.
So it's a mashup of the two songs.
So Troop is doing For the City.
Yes.
And what's his name is doing?
Levert's doing For the Love of Money.
It's not bad if you think about it. When you break it down like that.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
actually, I believe even in the movie, it starts out with Levert around the trash can, and then it ends up being Troop around the trash can singing it. So, you know, it was a good.
And the harmony was right.
transition. How can it not be?
Yeah.
How can it not be? But yeah,
And they did that part at the end. Yeah. That was dope. I ain't gonna hold you.
Yeah.
That was kind of fly.
Yeah.
That was kind of fly.
And like you said, Troop was on fire. Even Levert was making some noise. That was after Casanova and
Right.
you know, Baby I'm Ready and all that. The next song. The next song was probably, in fact, the next song was the second most popular song of 1991. I Want to Sex You Up
Let me tell you something, man.
by Color Me Bad. This song launched them into the stratosphere.
Big record.
Huge record. And not to mention, the producer of this also produced Poison.
And the guy who enhanced and beefed up the record was Howie T. He did both of them, beefed them up.
Yep.
Don't get the credit for it. He had to come back and get it. Somebody put some pressure on him. I'll tell you about that story later. Here in Atlanta at Jack the Rapper. He tells that story. I'll just put it out there, just give y'all a teaser. Little Sean steps to Hiram Hicks and they have a
Give my
discussion.
man his money.
They have a discussion. Interesting story, about, you know, look it up, Little Sean talks about it. But hey, you talking about a monster record, something different. The Pre-Mary.
Yeah.
But not necessarily beat-wise, but just hip-hop vocally, taking something that everybody was familiar with that came out in the summer of 1985, is the voice of Slick Rick. Now, Slick Rick is one of the most sampled rappers, period. You know, he's one of the most sampled lines of his because of his distinctive English voice. You know, a lot of people chopped it up and used different ways. This was one of them. The TikTok, you know, stuff.
Yep.
You know, which was very catchy. Brothers Spider-Man and Freeze were on a roll.
Yeah.
This came afterwards.
Yeah.
And then you have these four brothers, four guys.
Well, you had there was one brother in the
I'm
group.
saying four. I mean brothers as far as men.
Four guys in the
Yeah.
group who were in it, and it was kind of your first blending of multicultural groups. They were, you know, you had your white dude, you had your black dude, you had your somewhat Spanish George Michael looking type of dude, and you had your
Which
Kenny
is a
G type of looking dude.
MTV like dream.
Yeah.
Like to blend. You got to remember, this is going into what we talked about on another episode where this is the dance music stuff.
Yeah.
Because they were the head of the MTV. So this is Milli Vanilli. This is CNC Music Factory. MTV, she said the MTV, Club MTV tours.
Yeah, Club
Which
MTV.
Color Me Black played a big part of it, right?
Yeah.
It's like a Benetton commercial. It's a little bit of everybody.
Yeah. Plus,
You know what I'm saying?
there were two different versions of this song.
Right.
There was a version played on black radio, and then there was a version played on white radio.
You think.
And I think there was also a different version for the video. So there were 3 different versions.
I only remember it because I kept hearing that, or at least 2, but I couldn't tell.
Yeah, on black radio was "I Want to Sex You Up."
No,
On white radio is "I Want to
Wanna
Love You Up."
Oh, that's what you mean.
It was that, but also the first verses were different on black radio, and the first verse was different on white radio. Hey, beautiful lady. Yeah, and then it was different. Yeah, yeah, it was a different.
That was fly.
So they knew what they were doing with that particular song. They wanted that group to take off.
Yeah, on a big way. So, it's a
turn,
shame what happened to them.
Right, which in turn got them to blow up on their first album, because that was the first single.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right, and then that.
But then they had to rush in. But you had to rush in and do the album at that point, because no one thought they were. I mean, I ain't gonna say no one thought. They probably did and hope, but they just seemed like they came out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, yo, what is this? Mind you, this is at the end of their run. You're entering Boys the Men.
Yeah.
Let's get to that.
Yeah.
You're entering Boys the Men.
Jodeci.
Yeah. These guys are working on. They're about to come out.
Yeah.
You know, which might have destroyed their run. But at the same time, when you know these guys and you see the harmonies, and it's like, that's cool. But then when Boys the Men and all, they be like, oh, whoa, what is this?
Yeah, no,
and they kind of put out the rest of those guys' fire.
Yeah, these dudes is writing and singing and performing. These are more self-contained units than you know what we thought. Because generally, boy bands or male groups of that
and
era,
they were considered a band, by the way.
Yeah, and they, male groups of that era were not self-contained. They had somebody writing for them or producing for them. But once Jodeci and Boyz II Men, then groups started becoming self-contained, where they could do.
Well, a lot of
everything.
people tried to, and I think that was a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we'll get into that when we do a Boys the Men, because we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But go see, if you ever get a chance. Have you seen Color Me Bad? The
lately,
clips.
Yeah, they fell off.
But the brother that was doing the lead on that,
had too many donuts at this particular point.
But don't wreck
nobody.
Yeah, not that. But dope record to this day. If you play that, you're gonna get a response in the club. And I always thought somebody should have did a rap version to that.
Yeah. The next single is Lyrics to the Rhythm by this artist named Essence. Funny thing, a R&B, what's the word I'm looking for? A R&B female superstar actually wrote on this song. Take a guess who?
Say that again, an R&B what?
An R&B, female R&B superstar wrote.
Were they a
on this
superstar
song.
at the time, or they became a superstar later?
They were a superstar previous to this.
And they wrote on what song?
Lyrics to the Rhythm. It's a forgettable song, but I just thought it was cool.
The fact that you said rhythm, I'm just gonna go with Janet Jackson.
Actually, no, it was Tina Marie.
My favorite singer of all time. Okay, well, okay.
She wrote on this song. The next song, Get It Together, in parentheses, Black is a Force, by a group called FS Effect.
I remember that name. I remember that. FS, yeah, FS Effect. Yeah. They had another song. I know that name.
Yeah, they had another song, and it slips my mind as to what it was.
They had another song.
Right. Guess who wrote on that song? He was an R&B heartthrob.
Was?
He was at the time.
At that time, if you was R&B, couldn't be Bobby Brown.
He was a Christopher Williams adjacent.
Albie?
There you go. Al B. Shore wrote on this song with FS Effect.
I do know FS Effect.
What's the song?
No, they were they're from New York. They were signed to. Now I got a story. I do know FS Effect, and one of the guys is a music executive right now. he has a baby by I think it's Misa Hilton.
Puff Baby?
No, yeah. He got another baby. They're from Mount Vernon. I do know them. And you know why I know them? And one had dreads, a little short dreads at the time. It was 3 people in the group. I do know them.
Actually, it was 4.
4 people. I do know them. And what is the dude's name? He's an executive now. He's been an executive. His son is a rapper. It's Misa Hilton's other son. They don't talk about. I know exactly who they are now. I told you I knew them. No, I was at their house when they were signed. One of them, and my cousin took me there, and he was like, "Yo, he signed. He got signed to such and such." But one of them is a music executive. What is his name?
The members were Joseph Brim.
Yeah, that's it.
Joseph Brim, right?
Joseph Brim. That's him.
Yeah.
I know.
Joseph Brim.
I know. That's what he got a baby by Misa.
Okay.
Yeah. I know. Listen, man, y'all. Hey, I know I sound like Moby. I knew the name, I just couldn't put it together. But the more and more, once you said I'll be sure, because that's where the Mount Vernon connection comes from.
Yep.
So I told y'all, man. Hey, I'm just saying.
And the last song, oh Lord have mercy. The last song,
it's got to be the 2 Live Crew.
Yes, In the Dust, 2 Live Crew.
You stink!
I remember the song from the bass line. Whatever it was like some bass, and then they come in and here's the thing. They coming in off of the box. They had a very popular song. Was it Move Something? That was on the box. The little nasty little boys used to request. It used to come on. It was a lot of ass shaking and a lot of shit going on.
A lot of ass shaking.
I think, and they were on Warner, and they either were in the middle or they just got out that deal where they sold the sticker thing, and they won the lawsuit.
The parental advisory sticker.
So they were kind of hot for that reason. And by the way, this is the 40th year anniversary.
They're the reason why
of Luke's first album, Throw That D. 40 years ago.
Yeah, they're the reason why stickers are
but that's a good
album.
thing, because he was either that or don't put nothing, so we put the sticker.
Yep.
But Luke's first single, and he doesn't get enough credit, independently, by itself, Luke Skywalker Records, a song called Throw That D, came out in 1985, 40 years ago.
And then I believe he got sued for Luke Skywalker Records, correct?
Well, he did for the Luke Skywalker, so he just switched it to Luke Records.
Yeah.
But at the time he did, he's in front of his Cherokee Jeep, and there's Luke Skywalker on the Jeep and all that stuff. So he changed it to Luke Records, then sold it to Little Johnny or Little Something into publishing. It got funky, and he tried to get some of his catalog back, but they own, if not all of it. He did a bad deal, but yeah. I remember because the song's in the movie. I think when they riding in the Jeep or some part, I'm not really a fan. That wasn't their thing. Like, stick to the Rated X stuff. Anything outside of that's not, it wasn't your thing.
I can't fault them for trying to stretch their wings to get out of that, X-rated, booty shaking, bass driven music. Especially for a up top movie, you know what I'm saying? Because truthfully, they were the only Southern act on there.
Here's the thing: like, half of the record is New Jack inspired, right?
Correct.
And it should be if we're gonna say New Jack City.
Correct.
And then the other half is just like, I don't want to say traditional R&B, but I posed a question off camera, and I'm just gonna say it here. I was gonna do it in another segment. I'm gonna say this.
You want to save it for another segment?
No. Fuck it. We can extend this one.
Okay.
Just real quick. Without New Jack Swing coming in when it did, or ever, where does R&B music go? Where does R&B music? Where are we at without New Jack's? Where did we go from there? Because prior, I'm thinking it's the Freddie Jacksons, it's the Luthers, it's still the bands, Midnight Stars, Cameo, but there's no New Jack Swing. So do you think we continue that era and that happens? And then, because once we did that, we really started catering to younger people at that point. That's when it really, before it was just, you had the Jackson 5, the New Edition. We didn't really focus on young people. I think after that became the focus on young people.
Oof. Without New Jack Swing.
Do we survive, or does R&B die before that? Before that, I mean, does it die?
Well, let's think about this. If there's no New Jack Swing, is there Bobby Brown's Don't Be Cruel album?
This is what I'm saying.
No, I'm just saying.
It's
okay.
It's not as we know it.
Okay, so does that mean Bobby Brown blows up?
So I'm saying, not as we know it.
Okay.
Is he because at that point he might not be popular with the youth. You know what I'm saying? It might be that's the thing, like hip hop's influence gave it a chance to go to another generation. But it got to the point now, it got so diluted with hip hop, diluted with hip hop that it killed off R&B now.
Okay, so let's think about this for a second. So let's say Don't Be Cruel doesn't exist, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what, 89, right? 88, 89. When Joe...
It is.
88, okay. So
there's no effect mode. It could be an effect mode.
No. There could be an effect mode because there's no remixes. There's no remixes for effect mode. Okay. So then there comes Jodeci, right? Traditionally,
they can survive.
No, that's what I'm saying. Now Jodeci can survive, okay? But Boyz II Men, Motown Philly is full of samples. Dallas Austin produced that.
But the biggest hits aren't that.
Correct. But I gotta be able to. But you gotta reel me in first.
No, I get it.
Motown Philly reeled us in.
I get it.
So Jodeci survives. Boyz II Men may take a little bit longer to become palatable. After that, there's no Mary. There's no intro. There's not a whole bunch of people. So
that's what I'm saying. I think it dies before it did. I think it dies in the dies in the mid-90s. The thing that moves music along is that the next generation does their version of it. If they can't do hip hop with it, and they're not doing that, who do they give it to? It's just because that's what happened in the era. Like, all right, for instance, when we were kids, we were watching grown men doing R&B that weren't kids, other than maybe the Jacksons and New Edition. So you're talking about Kool and the Gang, Gat.
Yeah.
These guys weren't like our age, and we accepted what was there, and it was dope. I think we have a greater appreciation for it now, maybe because it's nostalgic, maybe because we really can understand what they're saying. We're old enough to grasp what they're actually saying, right. And that's the reason why it could be all those things. But after us, how do they get it? Because you could be an older guy singing there. Hell, man, this nigga named first dude on Soul Train, Rufus. First guy ever to perform on Soul Train had a hit, right? And you can see him on Stacks, Watts, whatever it's called. He performs on there. He has a cape on. The man has a receding hairline. And he's getting down to the crowd. See what I'm saying? They were accepting older people if the song was hot.
But here's the thing. You really can't say... there's no...
You're unk now if you rap and you're older. You see what I'm saying?
What I'm saying is, it had to happen because hip hop was bubbling under at that time. Don't get me wrong.
I said New Jack Swing.
No. Listen to what I'm saying. Teddy incorporated hip hop into R&B. So if he didn't do it, somebody else would have done it. Maybe it would have been a few years later, but I think it still would have come around because, like I said, and as we can see by proof, by 91, hip hop was becoming popular music. It's already outselling pop artists. And that was NWA. That was hardcore as hardcore could be at the time.
With no radio play.
Right, with no radio play. So it's like, if Teddy didn't do it, somebody else would have figured out the code. We just might have been delayed.
But I don't think it'd be what, if it did, it wouldn't be New Jack Swing though. It'd just be rapping over a sample.
Right. Well, I mean, Teddy coined it, right? He coined
that, which is smart. That's how you market it. Right. That's the genius thing he did. But there was an attitude and a feel to what the name was. The swing beat.
Right.
You know, he comes from a band. He wasn't just sampling. He was playing shit.
Right.
And tapping it out in a hip hop form. It wasn't all samples.
Right.
So Teddy knew the energy. And, you know, even down to the yup, even phrases and all these things that made it.
He knew what was
that time.
Yeah, he knew what was needed for, I would say, up tempos. That's definitely what was needed for up tempo songs. As far as slow songs was concerned, he came from a band. That's musicality. He got that by spades. That's not a big deal for him. You know what I'm saying? A good song, musicality, you can play that. But as far as up tempos were concerned, that's where he found the cheat code. He was like, you know,
because he was a rap. Well, he come from a band, but production wise, he produced rap records before he produced.
Right. So I mean, like I said, he had the cheat code. He already did it, and he was like, oh, I wonder how this would sound
from that time.
Right.
You can't be. Well, you can be, but to be from that time and live in that environment, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You can't help but to be influenced by your time.
Yeah,
this is a Harlem guy, cross street from Record Park, the Polo Grounds, and no, he's from St. Nick. Excuse me, my bad, y'all. He's from St. Nick, not Polo Grounds. He's from St. Nick Projects, and you know it's.
And plus, even though he's
in the hustler environment,
even though he's in it,
you talking about rooftop, all this.
Yeah, but he's still listening to what we were listening to.
Exactly.
That's
so who better to fuse it than the guy he's hearing the DJs over here.
Right.
He's coming from a band. Teddy didn't go to school for music. He plays by ear.
Right.
This is just talent.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah. Okay.
You know. So like I said, if he didn't do it, somebody else would have figured out the code a few years later. But yeah,
because this album, we don't get this out. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because we don't get this album without that. That was the time.
There's a lot of stuff you don't.
No,
you know.
but I'm saying that just because we're on this particular album,
yeah.
We get this album, but we don't get the album that we get. There's no I Want to Sex You Up.
No.
There's no, you know what I'm saying? There's
no New Jack Hustler.
Yeah, it's you don't get that without New Jack Swing. You know, that kind of thing. So that's the only reason I brought it up. It's just like, where would the music be if we skip over the whole New Jack? You know, we 88 and 89 of R&B music that was popular would not be here. So you're missing out on Poison, Bobby Brown. What?
Poison.
No, but you got to, when it was recorded, it came out in 90.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the influence, there's no
Right.
Spider-Man and Fruit as we know it,
Right.
without the New Jack, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
That kind of thing. So we miss a whole lot.
Yeah, you miss a guy, Bob Brown. Yep.
It's a lot going on. Johnny Kim, keeps,
Yeah.
you know, all
Keeps
these
on,
records. You know, even, excuse me, the remixes Teddy did, the records he did for Boy George, forget that shit.
Yeah.
Some of Heavy D's. Kumo D doesn't have a comeback. Or maybe he does because he produced those records.
Yeah.
But he had those sounds in there.
Right.
Go See the Doctor, not Wild, I don't think Teddy did that. But it was Go See the Doctor and something else. How You Like Me Now. It's all Teddy production. Yeah, okay. So at the end of the day, album wise, you tell me your pros and cons. Pros first.
Singles were the pros. Actually, let me rephrase that. I won't say the singles because only 2 singles were technically released. I'm Dreaming, I Want to Sex You Up.
Mm-hmm.
But I like I said, New Jack Hustler, I'm Dreaming.
Like the Johnny Gill. Right?
Johnny Gill, Key Sweat, For the Love of Money. Yeah, well, Jesus Christ. Let's see, that's a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I half the album. I like half the album.
There you go.
There you go. What about you?
Same thing. I could have. You could have left off. There's no disrespect to the 2 Live Crew album. There's a couple records that could have got left off, but I think you used the soundtrack to experiment what she did, the Giant Records, because it was a new label, to test out what people gravitate to and what you should put out next. I don't think the FX effect ever came out all the way out. You know, JoJo Brand wound up being the executive later, so on and so forth. But I just think that, you know, you test the grounds with it and you put it out there and you see what happens. And who people gravitate, that's the person. We get behind that. We got our official singles already, and that worked. I think the singles are on point. I like a few of the records. Most of the records were decent records, are good enough records. I Want to Sex You Up, Out of Here, launched them. You know what I'm saying? Christopher Williams launched him.
Right, but let me ask a question. Was no, I Talked to Myself was after I'm Drinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, two new artists were launched off of this.
Absolutely. Hey,
and everybody else was already a household name.
You consider the genius if you can pull off 2 in this business. 2 off one, because you know most people don't. So in this, I'm talking about 2 new people.
Yeah.
That you can launch, and it's not even their album.
Yeah.
So your expectations for their album, you're probably expected to go gold.
Yeah, you're creating a frenzy.
Just off that.
Yeah.
Now, if you drop an official single when you drop the album, depending on how hot that is, I can carry you over to a 3rd song. And this is a new label, by the way.
Yeah.
It's a new label, and they get the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Because you gotta remember, this is in the middle of Ice Ice Baby. Like, it's a lot going on, different energies, different cultures are going on in hit records. This is the turning point of pop music and hip hop, and it being uncool to possibly being cool, making the money. Hammer's on fire.
Yeah, he is.
You know, yeah, he's on fire.
Yeah, and then plus it's like with Christopher Williams and Color Me Bad as examples. Once they put out another single from their album, you already know it's going to go gold because
that's what I'm saying. You're going to ship gold.
Yeah.
You know, depending on how it is, they're probably going to ship platinum, but they're shipping gold for sure.
Oh, definitely shipping gold. And back then, going gold meant you got another album.
Yeah.
Right off the bat. As soon as you go gold, you got another album, guaranteed.
So it was a good look overall for the artists that were on there, and you got to remember the soundtrack probably went platinum, which is a good look for everyone. Everyone can get a plat because you were on the soundtrack.
Yeah, the soundtrack was #1 on R&B charts and reached #2 on the Billboard 200.
Nigga, that's hey.
And it went platinum.
And there it is. And there it is. Everybody eats, right? Right. Okay, cool. So overall, we giving it what? What you giving it? Overall,
I'd give it a 7. I like half the record.
That's fair. I'll push it to. So I'm about to say 6.
Yeah, I'm not giving you no.
But I can push it. I can push it to. Yeah, I'm not okay. That's fair. I go with the 7. I was gonna say 6.5, but I'll go with the 7.
Yeah, and that's being fair.
Yeah.
That's being fair because like I said, I can't give you. You ain't get nothing over.
Just for the fact that you got 2 new artists that had hits off there, and those were the choices to make the records. You could have easily went with a Johnny Gill record who was already on fire and took the cheat code off that, and you did. Y'all did the right way because Johnny wasn't signed directly to y'all anyway.
No,
so she did the smart thing. She put her artists out there that had the actual singles. So shout out to Cassandra Mills. That was a smart move. The more and more I think about it, because you could have put that up, but you're launching your shit, so why not put your artist as the lead? And you even got one of them in the movie, which was dope. So,
yeah.
Shout out to her. Listen, man, this was a good one. even though we're gonna weave in and out and do a soundtrack here, yeah, we're gonna get the Juice, yeah, we're gonna get the Bub the Brown,
Yeah,
which is one of the best ones.
Justice.
Poetic Justice versus Larry. Don't be a menace while drinking your juice in the South Central. Hey.
Oh yeah,
Menace.
Yeah.
It's just like that was the time. It was like I don't know about Sprung, but it was some soundtracks that were really but hey, no, we can go a step further and do the Boomerang.
Oh,
and then what was the one with the family? I saw it on Christmas Day. Me and this chick, with Nia Long and
the Best Man.
Nah, nigga. Nah.
Friday.
Nah. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And Omar Epps, not Omar Epps, Mekhi Phifer.
Oh, Soul Food.
Soul Food. I saw that on Christmas Day. I had a bad joint I went with. Saw it at the CNN Center when the movie. This is the last time. There's a movie theater in CNN Center. If you don't know, if you're from Atlanta, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, Lord.
I had a bad job. But in any case, Christmas Day, I went to go see that. Big soundtrack, though. Waiting to Exhale, big soundtrack. These, like I said, the 90s, the soundtracks were huge, man.
Yeah.
And a label would get them. You know, a boutique label would get them, whether it's LaFace, this person, that person. Jermaine Dupri got, like, Big Mama's House, and that's how he introduced Bow Wow. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. And LaFace introduced Outkast.
No, what LaFace introduced Tony Braxton, the Boomerang movie.
Tony Braxton, that's right.
See what I'm saying? So the fact, it's a dope launching pad, man.
Yeah.
Where you can test the waters and you spend the movie money.
Yeah.
Not your late. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You spend the movie money. That's the trick. Spend their money, baby. Listen, man, we're going to get up out of here. That is our review and conversation on New Jack City soundtrack. Pretty good. We're going to guide them some other ones. We just named a little pretty good. It's all right. With that being said, I am Scorpio Moe.
I am C.Boogie.
This is
the Run That Back podcast.
You know.
Run that